Hello, Blue Protocol fans. Oh wait, I mean Star Residence fans. Yes, we have been playing the last 3 weeks the closed beta test for Star Residence off and on. Now, while I have been very busy with school and various other things, I've tried to, when I have had time, to be able to go through this game and truly understand what it's all about. And this game truly sets a new golden era for MMORPGs, and I think that is with Star Residence. This game, for the most part, is a true PvE game, but I'm hoping that down the road maybe they decide to let in some PvP elements, and I think they might actually do that with the arena. Now, a lot of things have changed since the very first closed beta test of Blue Protocol. Now, a lot of things that I was able to experience was mainly in the all of the tests for the Japanese tests in Japan, and I was able to go through all those systems and see a lot of things, but unfortunately the game decided to close down and then reboot as Star Residence with a Chinese company instead of a Japanese company, Bokura, and Bokura is under Tencent. Now, immediately once you think Chinese company, you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be another gacha driven game. And no, guys, this is not going to be a gacha driven game because it is purely cosmetics on the shop. Mounts and cool looking cosmetics are on the shop. Now, yes, I could see where there could be some gacha of like, oh, maybe you use your rose coins that you purchase using yen or real USD or whatever you want to say your currency is. But once you do that, you can exchange that currency of rose coins into something else like rose chained coins or whatever it's called, and exchange that so that you use the in-game currency as a means to be able to get materials and various other ways to get things. And the great thing about it is you could achieve and get all of these materials in-game for the most part. The only thing that you can't get is those shop cosmetics to make your character look cool and all that stuff. There's a lot of cool cosmetics on the shop and it's very enticing, but at the same time now, they've restricted it to us that are outside the country, of course, but at the same time, there's really cool cosmetics and amazing looking mounts, and you've seen it in the trailers, and there's a lot more to come. And that's just one of the small things about Star Residence. I almost called it Blue Protocol. But yes, Blue Protocol was an awesome game. It had awesome cutscenes. And one thing that's a pure difference between Blue Protocol and Star Residence is its storyline. And that's one thing that I'm a little bit hesitant on currently. And while I haven't been able to translate things because, of course, I don't speak Chinese, one of the greatest things about the storyline is simply that they have tried to make it as close to Blue Protocol as possible. They have improved upon the characters, the assets, the animations, and the physics of characters throughout the cloth mechanics of like the skirts or the clothing on the character. And even while you're like, for example, wall running, a lot of people have pointed out that a lot of the materials and the attention to detail on the character's clothing has improved exponentially. It is amazing what they've done with the character clothing and physics and the contortions of, like, for example, like a flip-flop or something like that, or sandal on a character's foot. If you're wall running, you can see the bend in the shoe. It's not flat, it's bent, and you can see where things would, the bones that are within the 3D model of the character, where it would change. And not to so much detail as like it's a true anime game with the hair physics and various things that are, or ribbons that are on like a shield or a sword or something like that on a piece of material. It looks so very detailed that it truly sets the tone for how much Star Residence is going to be an absolutely massive AAA MMORPG, and I can see that with this game. The storyline is a little to be desired, to be perfectly honest, because while I did skip through some of the story, when it came to major points of the cutscenes, there were some points where I was like, wow, that is so cool. Where the weather changes, or there's a massive tornado in the middle of the Asterleads plains, and there's just all this commotion and stuff going on at times that it's like so cool. Now, the visual effects and special effects that are going on throughout the game and even the storyline is so cool. Like, it's Final Fantasy 14 levels of like flashy kind of thing. And that's what I like about this game, is that it brings in those elements of flashy special visual effects. But the one thing that I'm a little bit keyed on is the fact that when it comes to the storyline, and I'm a big story guy, is that I would like to see a little bit better story cutscenes in the terms of like how they transition from one cutscene to another, how they fade to black, or they do certain things that allow the game to be more streamlined, if that makes sense. Now, while it's a closed beta test and we've been doing this for the last 3 weeks, there's a lot of great gameplay as well. And one thing that I wanted to key up on is the fact that the gameplay is the biggest thing about this game. Instead of going the gacha route, the biggest thing is that the game makes you grind in lower level dungeons for your gear. And that's like your level 20, level 40 gear. And then you can spec it out. Now, you can buy some lower level gear from like a shop NPC with certain currency that's in game. But the thing about that is the fact that that gear is not as able to be used into, if that makes sense. So it is capped at a certain level rating, or it's level 40 kind of thing, but you can't fuse more material into the gear as you would a dungeon piece of gear, if that makes sense. So you purchase whatever gear you need to, and that will be a lower gear level rating. And if you can't fuse higher to, like, say you're capped at 30, you can't go up to 100. It is capped if you buy from the NPC. Whereas the gear that you get from dungeons, you can get up to 80 or 100 at times. If it's purple gear, it's 80. If it's gold gear, you can max it out to 100. And that's the great thing about Star Resonance, is the fact that it makes you want to grind for gear so that you can gear up your character so that you have that specific gear rating that meets the requirements on dungeons. You can jump into a dungeon with a lower gear rating. That's all fine. But at the same time, your party may not like you if you're constantly dying on the field. So if you don't have enough gear to be able to take on those damage numbers from a boss battle or an enemy that's in a mob, then you're probably going to get kicked out of the lobby, or people are more likely going to want to leave the party because you're not good enough. So just keep that in mind, guys, is when you're going through this game. And from my first impressions is that people are probably not going to want to deal with you if you don't have a good enough gear in the game while you're playing a boss battle that's on like a hard mode difficulty. If you're on a normal difficulty, as it goes normal, difficult, and nightmare mode, then you're probably going to have an easier time on normal mode. But if it's on the hard difficulty, where it's a higher difficulty rating and that's where most people get their gear from, then you're more than likely not going to want to deal with that person if they have a lower level gear rating and they're constantly dying. So just keep that in mind, guys, and try and read up and look at guides on certain boss battles. If it's brand new, it's fine for the first maybe week or two, but at the same time, guys, people are probably not going to want to deal with you if you don't research and look into things when you're trying to do a boss battle. Because if you die too many times, some people from other foreign countries are nice about it and they're willing to talk with you and try and learn about the dungeon or the boss alongside you. But at the same time, some people just don't want to deal with you if you're like that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind, guys, as going through an MMO in general. But overall, guys, the gameplay is the best part of this. The gameplay, the mechanics, the classes in this game are to die for. They are amazing, every single one of them. Now, of course, there's going to be hot fixes here and there for changing the classes and their gear damage and whatnot. But at the same time, every single class is an absolutely fun class to play. Now, as you're going through, you may feel at some point in time, as you get further and further along, is you may want to switch classes. And the great thing about this is it's like Final Fantasy 14, where you can seamlessly switch between classes. And if you say you wanted to go in with a group of people and they already had a tank, well, sure, you can go in with another tank, but at the same time, you may want more DPS, or you may want another healer to take on a large amount of damage, that sort of thing. So that's why you converse with your group, that sort of thing, and you swap out to a different class if you've, of course, got it geared out, because you want to make sure that your party doesn't get mad at you too. But at the same time, guys, there's so many ways to be able to weave in and out between classes. The great thing about Star Residence is you level up your character and you can allocate your tokens to one class and then swap over to another, and it gives you whatever level you were overall, because as you're leveling up everything. It's not, oh, like Final Fantasy 14 where you will level up one character and then you have to start from ground zero. It's not like that. You start from one character and you continue leveling up and you stay at that level, and then you swap over to another class, and then you can just simply allocate your tokens on the tree system to gear out your character. And you don't have to reset your tokens at all. It's just you have more tokens, because as you swap out to another class, it gives you whatever tokens you had for the other class. So it's really cool in that sense, and you don't have to be left behind, if that makes sense. So say you don't have a lot of time throughout your day and you just gear up one character a little bit at a time, then you can just simply swap over if you need to. Of course, the biggest trope of this all is gearing out your character and continuing to do dungeons. That's where the grind comes in, and that's where the dungeons come in play. And the great thing about this, like I said before, is that they split up the accessories and the gear all throughout the different dungeons. So a lower level dungeon may have your accessories, whereas a higher level dungeon may have your weapon and your chest piece, that sort of deal. And that's what's great about it. It keeps content relevant no matter where you are in the game and at any point in time. Now, of course, as the game gets further and further along, as more expansions come into play, I can see those dungeons being less and less of a thing as time goes on, those lower level dungeons. So just keep that in mind. But overall, guys, I am absolutely having an epic time. There's amazing things to be able to gear up your character, level up your character, and that's mainly through side quests. To be able to get more gear tokens for your tree system, that is through the purple quests. The green quests are your side quests for leveling up with experience. The purple quests are for your tokens for your character. And then the orange quests, I think, are to unlock something throughout the game, some way, shape, or form, or some key piece of information that's part of like your overall general systems in the game. And that's what's so great about this game is there's so much attention to detail. There's so many great aspects and menus about this game. While I do wish some menus were a little bit more condensed at times, I do feel like overall this game is a game to die for. A game that will be launched across many different consoles. Now, I did play this on my mobile phone, and maybe I need a little bit more time on it, but at the same time, I feel like it's a little difficult to be able to play the game on a mobile phone. I feel like if they had controller support on the mobile phone, now, I probably could have geared up my phone in a sense, because I do have a phone controller where I allocated and mapped my my buttons to the game as much as I could to like WASD or something like that, because or whatever the phone functions are. But I do believe that I probably could have played with a controller if I really took a long amount of time to be able to map all of my buttons on my controller. But if they had controller support for like the Razer controller or whatever controllers that are out there in general, I feel like this game on a mobile phone would be so much more enjoyable, as like, because being able to go on the go with your phone, like say you finished on PC and you're going out somewhere, or you're at work on break or something like that, and you wanted to play the game, you could. And that's the great thing about Star Residence is I do like the idea of being able to bring your game on the go. Now, I wasn't able to try and install this game on the Steam Deck. I tried to, but there was so many complications, and maybe I just need to install more stuff. But I had a difficult time trying to install it on the Steam Deck, and I wasn't able to fully get it installed. I got to a point where I was able to see the launcher, but for whatever odd reason, it just did not want to install the game. So maybe I just need to take a little bit more time and try and figure that out. But anyway, long story short is the fact that this game is an amazing game. I could see this being on the Nintendo Switch 2. I could see this being on PlayStation 5, of course, Xbox Series X. And if it's on mobile phone, why can't it be on every single console that exists? So long story short, guys, I do hope they bring in controller support, because that's one thing that I wasn't able to do. And that's what I like enjoying having on Final Fantasy 14 as an example, is being able to have a controller support throughout the game. And I really enjoy having a controller when I'm playing my MMORPGs. Of course, I'm able to play with PC. at the same time, like I did with Star Resonance and of course Final Fantasy XIV. But at the same time, guys, I truly do love my controller support, and I'm sure they will have that implemented in the near future. But until then, guys, overall, my overall first impressions and thoughts of this game is this is a game that is going to really set the tone for a lot of MMORPGs, or at least anime MMORPGs going forward. I could see this game being right up there with Final Fantasy XIV. I'm being perfectly honest, is that this game was primarily a PvE game. I could see this game being a major game that really is on the charts, if that makes sense. If we looked back at Blue Protocol, it was going to be a huge hit game. But the fact that the game never got as far as beta testing with Amazon Game Studios, it really didn't go as far as we thought it would. And we were shocked to no end when the game was going to get canceled. But the shock of factor of it all is that they made it into an MMORPG with a brand new studio. And they are truly setting the tone with this game. It far exceeds Blue Protocol in every way, shape, or form. Of course, the story is one thing that I would like a little bit more on, but beyond that, guys, the gameplay aspect, the rating, I'm looking forward to seeing more rating elements, of course, because I do feel like the rating needs to be a huge end game factor for Star Resonance. Now, while right now a lot of the gearing up is through dungeons, I do hope that gets the RNG drops of the game for the classes for the gear gets dumbed down a little bit from the closed beta test. I could see why they upped it so high for the closed beta test, but at the same time, I hope that they dumb it down a little bit percentage wise, because yes, you want to be able to have your player play the game and continue to play the game. That's the relevance of the lower dungeons and gearing up and grinding. But at the same time, I do feel like they should dumb down the percentages so that it's a little bit easier to be able to obtain that gear in dungeons if you don't have like a 3 times ticket or that sort of thing. So yes, there is a 3 times ticket to be able to up your chances of 100% to be able to obtain gear, and that's through gaining tickets through doing the tower system, which is like 100 levels or whatever you want to call it, like the Sword Art Online style of approach of doing multiple levels and getting materials through the tower. But there's so many different aspects of this game that allow you to intertwine things and to be able to obtain gear, craft, gather, and to be able to gear up your character in some way, shape, or form. I do hope that the end game is through rating, because I do feel like that is where the game will truly set the tone for how relevant this game is and how long it continues to play down the road. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope I didn't ramble on for too long, but this is basically my first impressions and maybe a little bit of review. I probably do want to do an official review once I'm officially done or capped with the game, or when the game's about to be closed for the closed beta test. But at the same time, guys, I do feel like Star Resonance is going to make this game set above a lot of other MMOs and set the tone and be a huge, maybe award-winning MMORPG. Thank you so much for watching. This is RoboGamer1HD signing off. I hope you guys continue to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and of course, stay connected with me so that you can see all of the up-to-date news on Star Resonance and beyond, and enjoy seeing gameplay and guides here on my channel. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching once again. I hope you guys stick closely, as I hope to make this game one of my key games that are here on my channel. Of course, it was Transformers and now Star Resonance, and I hope to see more games that we tackle in the near future come here on my channel as well. But until then, guys, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in my next video.